Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Transcend, a podcast where I love to talk about high vibe, anything that's going to get some thoughts moving and raise vibration and just bring joy into people's lives. I am Jami Christine. I'm a spiritual life coach, author, and entrepreneur. And today we are chatting with JA Sweeney. She is the author of The Wish, which is a children's book, part of a series called The Lollipop Brigade. And it is packed with so much wonderful goodness for kids with, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to chat about it just because I feel like your message and the simple life lessons that you're sharing with children is so important, both for children and adults. So,
oh my gosh, thank you so much.
welcome. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am, new author. I've been writing for approximately 3 years. Before that, I was in the restaurant business for 22 years.
Oh, wow.
So I loved it, but I'm glad to be out of that. And my next thing is just to bring joy to children and just make them know that they are so important because they are our new adults. They're going to be our new adults. And if we don't treat them with love and care and just fill them full of believing in themselves, then what are they going to be?
Yes, I love that. I've been really living by the thought that we're not raising children, we're raising adults.
Right.
And everything that we do for our kids right now is how their world is going to be or how their reality is going to be when they become adults. So that's so important. I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, it's just, if you, people complain about the kids nowadays. Well, we raised them.
Yeah, we did. That's exactly it. Yeah.
And so when people say, oh, this generation, they're so sensitive. Well, the world had a part in that.
We kind of created that. Exactly.
And so if you want them different, treat them different.
Yes, absolutely.
I know my children act different.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And how old are your children?
25, 24, and 23.
Oh, wow. So you were like, bam, bam, bam.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I wanted them boom, boom, boom. And then I thought after the boom, boom, I'm like, so it went boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, well, I got him now.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I can't imagine the age of like young adults.
I didn't know any different. So when you don't know different,
right.
And I used to have people say, in the grocery store, they didn't know me and they'd go, oh, all by the same dad. And I'm like,
oh,
yeah.
What a thing to say.
I mean, that turned out to be, that's no more anymore. But
I'm not with my baby daddy either. It's okay.
Yeah. It's like, thank you.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I love my life too. Like
right.
He's a great dad, but yeah.
It took me 18 years to get out.
Oh my gosh.
So, but it was a long lesson well learned. But people say the strangest things. They think that they,
Yeah.
And they're like, did you plan them that way? And I'm like, not that I know you, but yeah.
Yeah. Right.
But thank you.
Very funny. So how long have you been writing for fun? Like, has that been a hobby of yours for a while? I know you said you started writing 3 years ago. So this is really a new thing for you.
I've never written before. I mean, long texts and letters, gotcha. And I kind of don't stop when I start, but
yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. It's like
the curse of a writer.
And then my stories audibly, they're not good. People are like,
funny.
But I had a weird dream and I wrote it down. This was like 3 years ago, wrote it down. And then I sat on it for like a month and I thought it'd be really cute to write a book. So wrote a book and then found a great publisher.
Awesome.
And then I ended up writing 18 because you can't have just one life lesson.
Oh, there's so many. Yeah. And if you're portraying them to children, then you have to make it for children.
And my series will end at 30 books. And then it probably won't even end at 30 books.
Oh, no, you're not going to be able to stop there.
Yeah. It's like, I wrote the girl series and the boy series. And then I told my publisher, I'm like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, just keep going.
I'm like, I need to do something. And so I wrote a prequel.
Oh, cool.
to the girl series. And then, so then I'm writing another 12
Wow.
eventually.
So
It's all up here.
That's awesome. Is The Wish the prequel, or is The Wish?
No. So The Wish is so the girl series is first.
Mm-hmm.
So the girl series of 6, and then I have a boy series of 6, and then the prequel is 6.
Okay.
But the first boys book comes out with the third girls book.
Cool.
So, because after that they intertwine.
Yeah, I love it. So tell us a little bit more about The Wish. Like, how were you inspired to write that story, or to get the series even started?
So the dream that I had was about lollipops taking you to different places, right? And I thought, okay, well, I've got to write something better than lollipops taking,
Yeah.
And so I came up with 2 little girls, they're best friends, and they find a pretty pink box in the attic. And there's 12 lollipops. So each lollipop there's 6 each. Mm-hmm. And each lollipop takes them to a different magical land where they learn a life lesson.
Awesome.
So the second one in the series, which will be out September 21st, it's called The Gift. So there's The Wish, The Gift, Beautiful, Love, Bloom, and Sparkle.
Love it.
And so they meet a dragon. Her name's Penelope, and she's sad because she lost her fire. Oh. And they help her discover that everybody has their own fire, that everybody has their own special gift to give. Like every single person has something to give.
Absolutely.
I don't care who you are. Everybody has something. So if people start treating people just like they've got to get, people need to be nice.
Yes. And that was something else I was excited to chat with you about too. Cause that's a big message that you and I both share, is the fact that so much negativity and hate is breeding, is the word that you used when we spoke before.
Right.
Yeah. And just being able to see the person inside for who they are and look beyond. Because all of us, we're just kind of like floundering through life. I feel like just doing the best we can.
There's not a handbook.
Yeah, there's not. And so many of us
if there was a handbook, it'd be written by no. So.
It doesn't work that way. We got to figure this out. And I feel like there's so many people with just trauma in their past, with challenging life lessons that weren't learned in a healthy way. And I love that, like, your books are trying to help kids through that. It's like, we can't escape challenge, we can't escape trauma, but if we're given the tools to navigate it in a healthy way so that we can grow from it and become better people because of it, then that negativity and hate is just going to fizzle out on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody has learned, hopefully, well, not everybody learns, but if you can learn, it becomes the biggest lesson, and you have the biggest gift to give someone else that's going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
I told my son, I'm like, just don't follow in my footsteps, because back then, when you're in your 20s or whatever, you're a kid. And I said, drinking or what have you, I'm like, hey, don't follow in my footsteps, because not even I was really good in my footsteps. Just jump to where I am now.
Wouldn't it be nice?
You don't need to go down that road.
Yeah. But maybe he does. I feel like we are the people we are today because of the road we traveled. So who you are today, and this beautiful, amazing person that is creating such amazing literary art and art and everything that you're doing, this person that you are is because of that path that you traveled.
Right. If I would have chosen one different step, one turn, one anything, I wouldn't be right where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love where I am.
Yeah.
Totally. I love that. I wouldn't trade it for the world. If I would have gone to the store 5 minutes later, if I would have gotten out of that marriage 1 decade earlier, it's like that I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I go down there and he has a case of SpaghettiOs and a case of top ramen, I'm like, and he goes, mother, we all have to go down. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I just have to.
He's right.
Right. You have that SpaghettiOs, son.
Yeah, he's got to go down that path. Hey, it's better than, a case of beer instead. So.
Well, they have that too.
But, I'm sure that's part of it. Yeah. So what gave you strength in overcoming your own challenges and obstacles? Because there's some people that, I mean, like I said, we all get hit with our challenges, our traumas, but there are some people that choose to cave under
Mhm.
it and sink into it and let it identify them. And then there's other people that are like, no, I don't want to live this kind of life. I want to rise up out of it. So
Right.
what do you think gave you the strength and the power to rise up from your own challenges in life?
I would watch The Secret all the time, and I would watch Wayne Dyer, and
I
I
love
watch.
Wayne Dyer.
No, I know he's like so awesome. I'm so
Yes.
sorry. I'm so sad it's gone,
I
but he
know.
lives through everything, you know. And it's like I watched The Shift,
Yes.
and
Oh, so good.
yeah, but The Secret, it's just like, you know, I always saw myself as doing something just because you're held down by someone, which does happen,
It does,
you
yeah.
know. I mean, I remember not looking in the mirror for like 3 years,
Wow.
you know, and I'm just like, I am so much better than this, and not in an egotistical way, but just because that's not the life. Well, that was the life I was supposed to live to get that lesson.
Yeah.
But it's like, I just now I see my life. So I see where I'm going to be. I know I'm going to be there, and it's already set. I'm just catching up,
Yeah. I love
you
that.
know. And I looked back at my where I write, you know, where I wanted to be. This was like last year before COVID, so I didn't even. Who knows COVID was coming, you know.
That
So
was a great blessing for so many people because, man, it
good for
forced us
me.
out of a chrysalis and so many people became butterflies.
It was so good for me because I did my
Yeah.
own illustrations, and I got out of the restaurant business. That last year was going to be my last year anyhow, but it wouldn't have been, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's
And
the thing. We just get stuck in our patterns until the universe is like, hey, wake up, let's go.
right, people keep scheduling you, and you're like, stop! I don't want to work for you anymore,
Yeah,
you
right.
know. And so, you know, I did everything, but it was like, um, I look back, and every single goal I had, I met.
That's
And that was
awesome.
written down, you know, like being in the paper, being on a morning show, being, you know, getting my book out, all that kind of stuff. I did.
That's awesome.
And so
Congratulations.
thank you. You know, and so it's like, so as long as, I mean, I don't play victim. I think that's the main thing.
That's good. That's good
If you
stuff.
make yourself a victim, you're going to be a victim
Yes.
no
I mean,
matter what.
anything, any kind of identifier you put on yourself is what you're going to be. But I think
Right.
there's a lot of people that don't realize that they are in victim mentality or that they are really playing a victim. I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Because your thoughts create your feelings. So if you feel bad, change your thought.
Yeah, exactly. I am constantly trying to share that with my kids. Next week, actually, they have birthdays 2 days apart. I've got a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old next week.
Oh, my boys are 2 days apart. Mine are 11-14 and 11-16.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. But
Yeah.
yeah, so 10 and 7, and I'm constantly trying to explain to them that you have control over your reactions. And that is
Hmm.
always something you're in control of. Whatever happens to you, yes, things on the outside world are out of your control. People's behaviors, incidents that may happen, the weather. You can't control these things, but you can control how you respond to those things.
Right.
And if you respond with a sense of welcome, like, okay, this is what the universe has in store for me, and I trust that everything is going to work out for my highest good, then life is so much easier to navigate that way. But it's like, oh, this is happening to me again, and this is awful, and poor me, and woe is me. Yeah, your
Then
life
you
is
just
going to
keep that.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah. You just keep, I mean, anybody can talk themselves into having a bad day.
Yeah.
You know, I can
Absolutely.
certainly talk myself into staying in bed, you know, then I feel horrible, but it's
Yeah.
just like, you know, you can talk yourself into anything. So why not talk yourself into good,
Yes, absolutely.
you
And yeah,
know?
that's just it. Like, why not and talking about yourself? So many people have such negative self-talk that they're down on themselves. It's like, would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself?
Right. Right. Because I wouldn't be your best friend if you know,
No.
yeah. And so it's like, and I know, I mean, anybody can do anything.
Yeah.
They can. And even if they fail at it, they did it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I fail at Frisbee. I tried it. I'll play, but the person on the other end won't enjoy it.
Oh, that's
like, sure,
funny.
there goes the Frisbee way over there.
Yeah.
But,
I
I
love it.
tried, I did it, I failed. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And I think even shifting the way we look at the word failure, I've been kind of exploring that lately too. It's like, is it really a failure, or would it be better if we worded it as this was a learning experience?
Right. Or you still accomplished it.
Yeah, no, but you learned from it. Like, okay, I suck at Frisbee. Okay, do I want to improve on this? What did I learn from this?
I'll still have fun doing it.
Yeah, that too. Oh yeah. And I really found that after my divorce, so many people call that a failed marriage. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I don't look at that as a failure at all. Like, the marriage didn't fail. And in fact, this lifestyle that was not working for me and not serving my greater good, I got out of that lifestyle and I opened the doors to a new lifestyle that does serve my greater good. Like, how is that a failure at all?
It got you to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge success.
So it's just all wonderful. I mean, like I said, if I would have taken one different turn, I would have done one thing different.
Yeah. It'd be a totally different person, and who knows who that would be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to be anybody else but me.
Yeah.
And every time and that's another thing. I mean, when people try to be like somebody else, they've already failed.
Yeah. Because you're not you. Yeah.
You're not you. You can only succeed at being you. So why not be the best you?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are kind of out of touch with who they either are or who they want to be or who they are, potentially could be. I see that a lot in people. And what do you think your advice would be to somebody who's kind of in a place of being out of touch with themselves to where they feel like they have to catch up with somebody else instead of go in and reflect?
Right. I think they're afraid to have people think bad of them or different.
Yeah. Afraid of that judgment.
Right. And it's like, people are going to love you or not like you no matter what. There's going to be those ones that just don't like you, and you can't please everybody. The one person you can try to please is yourself.
Yeah.
And here's my thing is that you are only guaranteed to live with you for the rest of your life.
Oh,
you're the only person guaranteed to live the rest of your life with.
I love that. That's
and so why not treat yourself well?
That's so true.
And so people know I'm goofy as heck. I mean, they see me and they're like, God, what is she doing now?
Do you think that's really what they say about you? Like, God,
probably, because I was walking home one day with a surfboard. There's no ocean, there's no beach, but I was walking, and this is how I think all the time. So I was walking down to Sutter Street, which I live in Folsom, adorable town, right? And I'm walking down to the farmer's market or something, and I was thinking of when I lived in Maui. I'm like, God, I really want to do something with that surfboard because I want to get a surfboard and just make it something, put destinations on it, something. Move back here, no beach, no surfing, no anything.
Yeah.
So I was walking down to Sutter Street and I'm like, oh God, surfboard really would be so cool. And I was supposed to turn one way and I turned the other way. Lo and behold, there's a surfboard in this guy's backyard.
Oh, wow.
Covered with weeds, everything like that. And I'm like, oh. So I go up to his door and I knock and he answers. And I'm like, I know it's weird to have people knock at your door. I'm like, but I didn't have your phone number to text you. So I said, that surfboard in back. And he goes, oh, take it. He goes, it was here from the other, renters or whatever. And so I'm like, okay. So
you totally manifested a surfboard.
Right. I mean, things happen all the time.
Yes. Everybody has that power. We all have that power.
Yeah. I don't think I ever stand at a red light to cross. I mean, I think it's more or less that I time my steps to know when I'm going to get to the, got it. But people, sometimes when they're with me, they're just like, oh my gosh.
She just flows through life.
I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
And I had one person tell me one time, oh, it must be nice not to have a care in the world. And I thought about it because it really hurt my feelings for a second. And I'm like, it's not that I don't have a care in the world. It's that I give my power to things that I want to.
Yeah.
I don't give my power to everything. I don't worry about things that are going on that I can't control.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. Too many people, and I think that's a huge source of anxiety in people, that they spend so much time worrying about things that really they have no control over.
Yeah.
And it takes them away from focusing on the things you do actually have control over, like your thoughts and your reactions and your responses and what you want to do with your life or what you want to do with your day. Who you want to spend your day with.
I don't even watch the news.
Oh, no, I will not watch the news. I am so out of the loop with whatever the political climate is right now. I have no idea what's going on. And I don't know, sometimes I'm like, man, am I being naive? Am I being, irresponsible? But then it's like, no, I'm happy. I'm so relaxed. There's so many people who are just this ball of nerves and stress about the way of the world. And I'm like, my world's great. I love my life.
Great. I don't care who's in charge. I am just
I'm in charge. You're in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like my mom called me. She's like, oh my gosh, did you hear what's going on in, let's say, China or somewhere? I'm like, Mom, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I don't,
exactly.
I don't know.
We're not in that country.
I didn't even know COVID was happening until, this is sad, but I didn't even know anything was really happening until I couldn't find any toilet paper.
That's funny.
And then I had to go to work and steal toilet paper. But, I was like, what are you going to do? There was no toilet paper. There was no ibuprofen or like pain reliever. There was no cough medicine. I'm like,
what? Something's happening.
I'm like, this must be kind of serious.
I didn't realize how serious it was. Like I was hearing about it, but I wasn't really, I was living my life. And then all of a sudden, things were going crazy. And I was like,
and it's been the best 16 months ever.
Yeah.
The first couple weeks when they didn't want to let us out of our houses and stuff like that. And they're like, you can only go to the store for essential. I'm like, coffee's really essential to me. So I'm going. Yeah. And I'm a hugger. So that's.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And I still see people at the store and they'd still hug me. And I was like, I hugged all year.
Good for you. I'm so happy to hear that. I feel like people cut themselves off from, I feel like that connection, that physical connection, just a hug, an embrace is essential. Like, I think it's necessary for our well-being. And for that to be taken away, there was a huge mental health crisis that I think was worse than the COVID pandemic. And just that basic human interaction was taken from us, and people didn't realize how important that was until it was gone. Right. So good for you for still giving hugs. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just like, I can't do, people know me as that. So I couldn't walk by them and, like the lady at Walmart, the greeter at Walmart, I still would like,
give her a big hug.
Her.
I love it.
And she expected it, and people would look. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get it.
You shine your light through the darkness. Like, I love that. Yeah. You still remained you. You didn't let the outside world change who you were as a beacon of light. I love that.
Right. Because you can't, because that would give you a bad feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd rather continue to be me and shine that beacon of light than give in to what the world thinks I need to be and hide that and suppress that.
Right.
Yeah, good for you.
It was good. It was, like I said, it's been the best 16 months.
Well, and that's the thing too. So many people were like, oh, COVID is just like the worst thing that ever happened. It's like, I'm a massage therapist. So my industry was kind of closed down for a while. And it was like, okay, for that month and a half, however long it was that I was not working at all. Right. I'm like, is this really what I want to keep doing? Like, it really forced me to step back and take a look at life. And as I was enjoying like endless free time, like I could sleep in the morning. I got up, I was like, oh, do I want to go to the gym right now, or do I want to do that later? Do I want to go for a run? Do I want to, like, what am I going to make for lunch today? Like, just so many. Well, and then, yeah, it's like, gosh, maybe I want to write again. And honestly, it
Yeah.
was COVID that got me to finally publish the novel that I had written back in 2017, or finished writing
Uh-huh.
back in 2017. It sat like collecting metaphorical dust on my hard drive for 3 years. And then finally COVID hit, and it was like, oh my gosh, I need to do something with myself. I need to get that book out. So
Yeah.
I finished polishing it up and got it on the shelves.
Yeah. And now it's at Barnes and Noble, huh?
It is, yes. And thank you. That's, thanks to you. Like, I love that the divine intervention connected us, because you've given me so much advice and inspiration, because I didn't get a publishing company, and I just kind of like did this all on my own, like dove in head first. I don't know what
Right.
I'm doing. And so, yeah, talking to you, and you're like, yeah, just call up bookstores and tell them to put it on your
Cool.
shelves. I started doing that. And I'm like, oh my
I mean,
gosh, a lot of
yeah,
them
if you
were like,
have an
oh, you
ISBN
ordered
number, you're orderable. Boom.
yeah, and that's what I've been doing. So a couple of them already got back to me about setting up a book signing event. So it's like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, things are happening.
Yeah. I
So,
just did my first book signing with Barnes and Noble in Pueblo, Colorado.
yes, I saw that on Facebook.
Oh my
Oh, so
goodness. It
awesome.
was like totally awesome. I mean, I had kids come in and I have a little autograph book for them
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
they can give me their autograph,
Oh,
and I brought lollipops and the whole thing.
oh my gosh, I
And,
love it.
but we sold out. So,
How
but I
many
was
did you
there for,
have to start with?
I don't know how many they had, but I just signed and it
Yeah.
was a lot. And so it was great. I stayed there 7 hours. I didn't know that the normal book signing was like 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like, I'm going to Grand Junction, Colorado, the end of August, and their book signings are 2 hours. And that's how I'm like, oh, I was at Pueblo for 7 hours, but I had so much fun with the staff. And it
Yeah.
was like, it was totally great because I just stayed there till they were gone. I thought that's what you do,
Yeah.
and I gave lollipops out to everybody,
Oh.
like these kids would come in. I'm like, hey, and I just throw. And I mean, this one guy was like 6'8", this one kid. So, it's fun to mess with him, but all the little kids were so fun,
Oh, that's awesome.
so fun. And
Yeah. You're
I
shining so
can't
much light
wait.
in little kids' lives. Like, do you think do you think they really took away like the message you were hoping to portray, and that
I think
positivity and
I
light?
know so,
Yeah,
and
I
then I
do
had
too.
parents talk to me also, and what I mean. I know that when I touch children's lives, that I'll stick with them, only because I worked in the restaurant business for 22 years, right?
Yeah.
And this is like, so I might cry, but maybe not. But so I waited on tons of little kids at like breakfast restaurants, dinner restaurants, everything like that. I mean, I waited on families, but I catered to the kids, because if the kids are happy, the parents can eat, right?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
And
true.
so I used to, at this Italian restaurant I used to manage, I used to take care of this family. And there were four of them, and little girl was like maybe 3 or so. And they didn't have their brother till a little bit later. But so anyways, I used to make her, like, if they came in on a Thursday, I used to make her Thursdays instead of Sundays,
Oh,
Tuesdays instead of Sundays. So I would name them and I'd make them different every time. I try to, switch it up
yeah.
all the time. They would find me at different restaurants that I worked at, right?
Yeah.
They just invited me to, well, I've been, but they invited me to her graduation party from high
Aw,
school.
that's
And so she
awesome.
introduced me to her family and friends. She's like, this is my favorite server. This is Jen. She used to fix me Thursdays. She used to fix me Tuesdays. And it's like, and all these kids. And then I was at the farmer's market yesterday, and a little girl that I used to take care of at one of the restaurants, she was running a booth with her mom. She makes bracelets. And so I got a bracelet from her. She was ones I used to take care of before she went to ballet at a breakfast restaurant.
Oh my
And she
gosh.
was like 4.
Yeah.
And she's like, Mom, is that Jen? I'm like, So, if I can do that for children that I've taken care of throughout the years, I can do that through my books.
Yeah, and it's going to be so much farther reaching that way too. Like you just
Right.
wrote this one book and it's just going to have this ripple effect as it
Yeah.
spreads and
Yeah.
yeah,
And when the whole
many lives.
series comes out, it's going to be phenomenal. And I'm trying to get into the Chicago Public Library.
Cool.
And so I talked to the lady who filled out an application to get me in all 84 branches.
Wow. That's exciting.
Yeah. And I'm over in the UK and New Zealand
Oh, good
and
for you.
Australia. And
That's
then
awesome.
the book is being it's been read on a couple story times, but this one's in Chicago, and it's Storyteller K, or Storytime with K. And
Cool.
it's just the best.
That's awesome.
And she is booked. Mine is September 1st, and she is booked
That's
like
huge.
every
That's
day.
awesome.
And I'm like, awesome.
Look at you.
Yeah. But my books don't describe the character, what it looks like, what the
Yeah.
character looks like, not what it looks like, but what the characters look like. Doesn't describe them, doesn't show pictures of them because I can't draw. So, the little girls aren't
But you
drawn.
sure can paint. Oh my
You know
goodness.
what? Painting is so much fun. It's so
Oh,
freeing. It flows. And if you
yeah.
don't like it, you just erase it, start over. But drawing is so
It's a very
tedious.
intricate, that's a very intricate form of art. Yeah, your painting is phenomenal though.
Thank you.
Yeah, for
Thank you.
anybody who wants to see it, because it's on your Instagram, right? You'll Instagram.
Yeah,
and
all my
Facebook.
paintings are on Instagram
Yeah.
under
So
the
yeah,
Lollipop Brigade Paints or Our Feet Travel While Reading. I couldn't make that any longer.
yeah, the link will be in the description. So yeah, definitely go give Jen a follow and just check out her amazing artwork. It is,
It's just fun.
It is, and like I've told you this so many times, but I just love you being on my newsfeed. Like, poof, here's a beautiful painting and some sort of inspirational thing that you have to say. And it's like, wow, I love that you're just filling my Facebook up with so much positivity. Like I can scroll.
Thank you
scroll through
so
it and
much.
it's like, oh, you just brighten it up.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah,
And
there were a couple times where I would be in a just humdrum kind of place, and I'd sit there and paint, and then it would just all be bright. And I'm like, oh, okay, well that worked. Because I would start off black, and then everything would, and I'm like, oh, well, now I'm out of that mood.
Oh, I love it. And it's like, it's again a great example of how much control we really have over our reality. Like so many people are like, oh, I can't stand Facebook. I can't be on Facebook anymore. It's so negative. It's so blah, blah. And it's like, mine's full of positivity. Like I'll be, and if I come across something that, someone's complaining about the way of the world, it's like, oh, there's a little like hide this button or
you don't need to block. You like Brene Brown says, I love Brene Brown.
I love her. Right? Yeah.
She is awesome, but you don't have to pick up other people's stuff and just take it in.
Yeah.
You just step right over it.
Yep. You have that control. And that's the thing. It's like, if you don't like what it's, Facebook, it is what it is. It's part of our reality now. It's part of our world. Facebook is kind of like another room in our house. Basically, it's part of our lives. And it's like, I don't want to walk into a room and be like, ugh, it stinks in here, or it feels heavy in here. I don't like the way it looks in here. Facebook is no different, or social media is no different. Like, clean it up if you don't like it. Stop negativity and
just scroll by. You don't have to like it. You don't even know that person. You don't need to, you don't need to worry about them.
Yeah, same thing in your physical reality too. Like, stop hanging out with people who bring you down.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have literally 5 people that I know I have a million acquaintances. I have 5 people that are my people, right? That I know I can call in the middle of the night, or that I can rely on for anything.
Yeah.
And that's all I need. That's all I have time for. I don't have energy. And
I know.
they're all like me, It's like, I don't keep anybody in my circle that isn't like me. That would make no sense.
That's just it. Yeah.
I don't want to keep that one token negative person.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess if that one token negative person does happen upon your group, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to at least put forth the effort to shine some sort of light
Right.
into that negative person. And it's your choice whether you take that light and continue to let it shine or snuff it out. And if you're going to
Yeah.
choose to snuff it out, then I did what I can, but I'm going to choose to stay in the light.
Right. And if they're going through something and that's why they're negative and sad and everything like that, then that's okay, because you need to go through it to get to where you need to be. I understand that, and I'll just like hang with them all the time.
Absolutely.
But the other people that are just mean, it's like, well, you're just mean.
Yeah, don't have time for that.
Yeah, and you're just like, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Have fun. You're in a really good space. I mean, like a while ago, last June. So, because I think if you think like you can think yourself sick, right? You can also think yourself well, right? And so I got blood clot in my leg and 2 in my lungs. Didn't know because I let it go for 7 weeks because why not? Thought this was like June. So it was like 3 months into the pandemic. So I thought maybe I had a torn meniscus and, you know, how could I tear my meniscus? Because I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh, something's wrong. And I couldn't walk for like 5 weeks and I'm so active. And so I just thought, oh, I tore something, doing nothing. And so finally went to the doctor and she sent me straight to the ER. And I had blood clot in my leg, blood clots in my lungs. And then they found an unknown mass. The doctor goes, did you know you had an unknown mass? I'm like, why not? Why not? I'm here. It's great. You know, and he goes, so we're going to admit you. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to admit me. And let me tell you why, because I'm laying on a gurney in the hallway and there's COVID stuff happening all around me. And that's just not going to happen. So I came back home and found a pulmonary guy and he is so sweet. He's like 80, you know? So I told him, I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. He's like, okay, sure. Whatever, crazy lady. So we're gonna schedule you for a PET scan. We're gonna do all this kind of stuff. And we're gonna schedule you for a biopsy because they found out it was taking on blood, or you know, that it was like living.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I said, I'll be fine. We're, you know, no need to do biopsy. I'll be totally fine. He's like, okay. So then I missed the first biopsy, surprised, you know, and I'm just like, so by the time I went down to the second biopsy, they put me in the CT scan machine and they were going to, you know, to find out where they were going to take the biopsy. And then they pulled me out and they said, we don't need to do it because it's more than half gone.
Wow.
I would sit and paint all day, you know, because I was learning how to paint.
Yeah.
So I would sit and paint all day and just picture Miss Pac-Man just eating away the mass.
Wow.
And so the doctor called me and is like, she's like, Jennifer, he goes, congratulations, you did it. And I'm just like, you know, but I think positivity does everything.
Absolutely.
You know, if you wake up negative,
that it would work.
Right. I didn't know. I just knew that it was not gonna be there. I'm just like, and now it's totally gone. There's nothing that they could even buy. It's totally gone, totally clear.
Incredible. I love that.
And the blood clots are gone too, but you know, they were gone a while ago. But yeah, it's like you can do anything within reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
there's been people with stage 4 that have cured themselves. So I don't, you know.
Well, and that's just it. Like your mindset is so powerful. Like I had a very great comparative experience that proved that to me. 10 years ago when my first son was born, he was born very traumatically, but after all the therapy that I did, I realized that the trauma was because I was resistant to accepting that things may not go the way I thought I wanted them to go. And they, you know, here I am 10 years later and I'm like, no, that whole experience went the way it was supposed to go for me to get to where I am today.
Right.
Put forth the work that I did to overcome the trauma that I experienced because I was so resistant to it. But, you know, I didn't want a surgical birth. I wanted to have a birth at home naturally. I wanted to avoid the hospital altogether. And none of that happened, but I was so resistant to going to the hospital that was like, just even my midwife saying, hey, I think he's stuck. This is out of my scope of practice. You need to see a hospital. I was like, no, this isn't happening. And yeah, I kind of set myself up for the trauma. So fast forward, I actually had a mild stroke back in 2019. And it was such a different experience because I had done so much work in healing from my birth trauma and changing my mindset to just accept life, that if things don't really go the way you thought you wanted them to go or the way you had planned originally, that's because the universe has a better plan in store for you that's
Right.
even greater than what you had originally thought you wanted or needed. So, okay, so this stroke happened. I was like, I couldn't see straight. I was stumbling everywhere. It was very scary. But I don't know. I pulled that faith in where it's like, okay, this is happening for a reason. And I don't know what the reason is yet, but I'm going to trust and believe that this is happening for my greatest good. And I'm going to navigate this. And let me tell you what, like I got to the hospital and I kind of like flirted with the CT scan tech. I flirted with some of the triage nurse. Like we just goofed off together. And then,
Right.
I mean, I ended up getting like insanely nauseous and sick. And like I threw up for 6 hours straight and couldn't really make the jokes anymore. But in the middle of the night, it's like, oh, I just kind of like joked with the night nurse and, oh, I can't walk right now, so you're going to have to help me to the toilet. And we just made jokes about
There's
that.
technicians that are pretty awesome.
Oh my gosh. And like my whole staff was just a hoot. They were so sweet. They were so fun. Like who can say that about an experience like that? Like then physical therapy came and helped me kind of start walking again. And instead of it being scary, like, am I ever going to actually be able to walk again? Like I'm signed up for a half marathon next year. Like, am I going to be able to do this? Instead of thinking that way, it's like, oh my gosh, I have a whole new respect for the brain. Like I feel like the neurons activating so I can move my leg and so I can move my arm. And I never realized how much the brain does. And little by little, I made a full recovery. Like to this day, I forget that I mean, it was not that long ago, but I have no residual effects from it. But I really believe like I maintain that mindset of faith and trust, like whatever the reason is that this is happening, it's a good reason. And I trust that. And I'm going to navigate this in the best possible way. It's funny how later I'll tell the story and people were like, oh my gosh, how traumatic that must have been for you. And I was like, no, it actually wasn't traumatic. It was scary. It was definitely scary, but I'm not traumatized. Like I'm grateful. Like what an experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can let it just like hold you down, or you can let it like build you up. I mean, I choose the build up thing.
I choose the build up too. It's not that hard to make that choice. And then all it takes is trust after that.
Right. Right. I mean, when I went and I had my PET scan done, it was awesome. I mean, you sit there with a warm blanket for an hour after they inject you with stuff. The guy put me in the technician put me in the tube, but tucks you in and props you up. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Just needed a mint on my pillow. And he's like, we were talking about scuba diving. We were talking about this and that. And he's like, because most people, don't have this good of a time. I'm like,
why not, man? Like,
you haven't met me
here. Yeah, that was the thing too. It's like, okay, I've been to this hospital before and I didn't have a good time. So I'm going back, like, I'm going to have a good time now. Like, I can't help the circumstances. I don't know why I had a stroke, but I did. That's out of my control. Now the only thing I can control is how am I going to respond to this? And I'm not going to have a crappy time this time.
No,
so it's a choice. Always a choice.
Yeah, when I actually went to the hospital and they wanted to keep me, they said they wanted to do a bronchial wash. I'm like, well, one, that's not a good sell. That doesn't sound fun.
That doesn't sound fun, no.
And I said, it doesn't look like you have any good pillows. And I said, and I have not seen one hot doctor pass by, so I'm not staying. And when the pulmonary doctor asked me why I didn't stay, because they asked me to stay, they said they were going to admit me. And he goes, and why didn't you stay? I'm like, because he did not seem like the person I wanted to stay, because there were no hot doctors. The pillows didn't look comfortable. I just said, I don't know. He wasn't a person that I could joke around.
Oh, that's funny.
Because he was just old school.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, Dad. I just don't know.
I really love that you advocated for yourself on that level. There are so many people who are like, oh, a bronchial wash, that sounds terrifying. But if you think that's what I need to do, then I guess I better do it. Like, if it doesn't sound good to you,
It didn't
maybe
sound fun.
respect your body. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
want
didn't
this
even know
done
what
to
that
my
was.
body.
I
Yeah.
thought it was just like this scraping. I just pictured it as something really bad.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like you're going to get cells from what? No,
Yeah.
we're just going to like ride this one out and not do that.
Yeah, there's
You
so many
know,
people that don't realize they really can actually advocate for themselves though. Like I don't know, I guess it's maybe the fear of being in that situation, like that fear of like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to die. So in order
right.
not to die, I better listen to my doctor. And if they think I need to do this hideous invasive procedure, then I better say yes and not argue with my doctor. So that way I can live. And it's like,
Right. Well, here's
not
my
effective.
thing is that it's like I listened to my body. So I knew I was going to be okay. Freaked me out for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You
Oh, I'm
know,
sure there's
I
that.
think I cried for like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that wasn't fun. And
But it's
I had to
important
come
to
home because
feel
I
it.
left the
Like,
door open
yeah.
and grapes on the floor and paint. So I'm just like, because I was talking on the phone with my best friend, and she goes, "Are you having trouble breathing?" I'm like, I said, "No." And she goes, "Does it hurt when you breathe in?" I'm like, "Well, really deep. I mean, you have to breathe in really deep to make it hurt." She's like, "I'd go back to the ER and just check." And so I did. And
Yeah.
lo and behold, and then they gave me a DVD to bring, or a CD to bring
Yeah.
with me to my doctor. And the CT scan tech gave it to me. And I'm like, is this a parting gift? And he's like, "Are you a doctor?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. Thank you."
Oh my gosh. You were
Gotta get
probably a joy to have as a patient. Like, how many
it was
miserable, terrified people do they have
I
to
know.
deal with? And usually when people are terrified, they are not in their best state. Either they're cranky or angry or mean,
I
and
don't know how to be that,
yeah, I don't
you
like to
know?
be that. I've been like that, and it's like, God, this doesn't feel good. I don't wanna stay in this energy. Ugh.
Yeah, I can't argue. Well, sometimes I can, but I mean I can't be mad.
Yeah, it's
I just
not
don't like
fun to
being
be.
mad, and I don't like bringing up the past
Yeah.
because the past then becomes the present.
Yeah, it
And
does.
unless it's, and if it's a person keeping you in the past, then leave them in the
That
past.
person probably needs to be either talked to or left. Yeah.
Right. Done being talked to. You reach a certain age and you're
You
just like,
you reach a point, yeah.
right. But it's just like the past then becomes the present. Then it's just like a hamster
A
wheel.
vicious cycle, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what my marriage was a long time ago. It was just like, wow. It's just like I told him, I said, I can't live on shoulda, woulda, coulda island. I'm not there. I don't
Yeah,
know what boat you're on, but I'm not gonna stay on it.
yeah. The shoulda,
And he
woulda,
still lives there,
and you're
up until
not.
like 5 years ago, he would still call and go, "Did you know?" Yeah, I knew.
Some people
I
just get
I
stuck in those cycles and don't realize that, hey, you don't have to stay stuck. You know, you can't change, your situation is not going to get better or change if you keep making the same choices and keep
right.
following the same
Or
patterns.
keep blaming others for it.
That too.
If
Yeah, it's
you
like,
don't take charge and responsibility for your life, you're never going to do anything different. Because if you keep
yeah,
blaming other people for it, what are you doing wrong?
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah,
You're not
exactly.
doing
And
a
well, and on
thing
top of
wrong.
that too, you've given your power to that other person. If they're to
Right.
blame for your shortcomings or misfortune, you've given your power to them. It's like,
Right.
oh, if you've got some sort of misfortune happening in your life, take ownership of that so you can make the change and make it better and rise up from it.
Yep. But people like to live in that victim mentality.
Yep, it goes right back to that.
If something goes wrong, then they're just like, well, it's so and so's fault. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, it's actually okay, sure.
Yeah, it's your fault. A lot of people don't want to admit that though. And that's not a bad thing. Like just
And other people
take
know.
ownership. Yeah,
It's no surprise to other people
right.
that it's your fault.
Yeah.
You just and they're just like, "Okay, well, okay." I mean, everybody knows. Nobody will believe that it's somebody else's fault.
Oh no. Yeah.
If you've done it wrong long enough, people will just go,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Hopefully some people will learn those lessons and pull themselves out of their cycles.
Right, right. And I think that's one of the lessons in in my prequel that I have to the girls. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
tell me more about that.
we can all make our own choices. We can all choose, and we know what's right. We hear that inner voice on what's right.
Yeah.
So as long as we follow that, you're good. And if that doesn't work out, then you've learned what doesn't work out and what to do next.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
And it goes back to there are no failures. Because if it
No,
doesn't work
right,
out, it's not a failure because you learned something valuable from that. So you know what to do
right,
next or what not to do.
right. And even little
Yeah.
kids in school that are afraid to fail, it's like, no, be afraid to try
Yeah.
or to not try. I mean,
Yeah, be
you
afraid to
know,
not try. Yeah, like your only failure is not
not
even putting
trying.
yourself in the position to succeed. If you don't
Right.
even put
Like,
yourself in the position, then yeah, you're you're failing right off the bat.
right. And then I will not go to my grave saying, gosh, I really wish I would have,
Yeah.
you know?
Only I did this.
Right. Just like it's only a no, it's always a no if you don't ask. Like it's always a no. If you don't call Barnes and Noble in Wichita, Kansas, it's gonna be a no,
It's gonna be a no. Yeah.
you know?
'Cause you
And
never even
whenever
got
I
to the
call
door.
Barnes and Noble all day long, you know, because some people are like, what do you do all day? I work, but I don't work doing what you do. I just, I work
Yeah.
at what I want to do. And if you're jealous of thinking that I don't work, then whatever. But, I spend a lot of time on the phone and I never end with a no. Like if somebody tells me, well, can't do that, send in your sell sheet or whatever, then I call the next store.
Yeah.
And, because there's some that don't have ordering power right then.
Yeah.
But for those stores, I never send them my sell sheet. What I do is I mark them down and I call back the next day
Oh,
because I
there
know
you
I'm
go.
going to get a different manager.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get somebody else answering the phone.
Yeah.
So I've never landed on a no.
Yeah. That's just because
I've
you won't
even
give
had
up.
one manager call me back, another manager that overheard one manager give me wrong information. And she called me back and said, oh no, the one manager, give you wrong information and we can do that.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it
Oh, that's
all
great.
worked.
Yeah. Things
It all worked.
always work themselves out.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I love it. So, yeah, do you want to share anything more about the future of your Lollipop Brigade series and some of the life lessons you're wanting to include, or do you want to wait for that to be a surprise?
Let's see. Oh, I have a great life lesson for the third book. Is called Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is about a caterpillar and named Brookie, and my daughter's name is Brooke.
Aw.
And so she is afraid to go up in her little, I call it little sleeping bag, but she calls it, she calls it a little sleeping bag. So she's afraid to go up there because she's afraid that she's not going to be as beautiful as the others. And so the girls explained to her that beauty comes from the inside and that everybody's beautiful. And when we think, when we know that we're beautiful and think that we're beautiful, that we portray it on the outside. And that's the best part.
That's the ultimate beauty.
You can be beautiful or whatever on the outside, but if you're not beautiful on the inside, nothing really works.
Yeah, the outside doesn't matter.
No. Yep. No. If you're ugly on the inside, guess what? After a couple hours, you're going to be ugly on the outside.
People are going to pick up on that, and they're not going to see a beautiful person on the outside if they start seeing the ugliness on the inside.
Yeah. And then in the book, there's going to be a picture of my beautiful daughter. She's now living in Colorado Springs.
Awesome.
And but she is living her best life.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, she's 23, living her best life. Beautiful girl.
Well, she had a great mother for inspiration. So
she had a great mother for lessons.
And still, that's a good thing.
Right. Now she may look at it like inspiration. But before, like I used to have my children do 10 good deeds a day for someone they didn't know.
That's awesome.
But it was like opening a door or smiling at someone or helping somebody with their groceries or something like that. My son, he was opening a door for someone at the dollar store when he was like 10 or so. Yeah. And he goes, Mom, somebody tipped me.
Aw.
So cute.
That's adorable. I love it.
You know, and he used to be like, he goes, I can make anything happen. You know, because we'd watch The Secret a lot. Like it would constantly be on.
I love that you played that for your kids.
Yeah, it would just be on in the background.
Yeah.
You know, and so he goes, I thought about a bike, and he goes, and I got a bike. You know, and I'm like, oh, you told me you wanted the bike a lot, but you know, just like, but maybe that's how he got a bike.
That's how he manifested it. Yeah, it doesn't matter how things come to you. They're going to come to you in any way, shape, or form they can get to you. All you have to do is want it and believe that you'll get it.
Right.
That abundance mindset is so important.
Yeah. I mean, the surfboard. I mean, who thinks about a surfboard walking in Folsom, which people look at a map and they're like, oh, you're by the ocean. I'm like, well, the ocean is like 8 hours away.
Wow.
You know, so that's not happening, but okay, because it's like this far on the map. But you know, but who has a surfboard? Right. I mean, it was a full-on surfboard. It's not a paddleboard, which you could do in the river. It's a surfboard.
Yeah, it's what you manifested.
So, I just brought it home now, and I redid it, and it's my dream board. I put dream down there.
Oh, I love that.
You know, I had a friend go, oh, you could sell that for like $300. You could start making those. I'm like, really? Who's gonna? How do you see surfboards laying around?
You never know. Keep that abundance mindset. Somebody out there wants it too.
I know. I said, well, if they bring me their own surfboard,
there you go.
I could do it. But, you know, but then so could they. I could teach them to do it.
Yeah. And you're painting a mannequin right now too, right? Or is that finished?
I am. I don't know if you can see it. It's back there on the table.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's totally cool. And I'm getting into an art gallery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I was just like, okay. The lady that owns the gallery, she is redoing her floor. Yeah. Her wood floor in her place. And so she goes, as soon as I get that all done, she goes, I want to bring in your table. You know, your table and your mannequin and some paintings. And I'm like, awesome. Wow, that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I just do it for fun. Yeah. You know, turn on music. But I had to do it to teach myself. Yeah. So, because I needed to paint my illustrations, so I would just watch YouTube. YouTube's awesome. Oh yeah, for sure. You could do anything. I mean, you just watch it, and it has to be 3 minutes or less, because I can't watch those 3 hours. I know. So have you painted before? Learn how to paint a sky, people. Yeah. Have you painted before you did your illustrations for your book? So that was all new. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Because your illustrations are so unique. And it looks like it's a style that you've cultivated for years. Oh, so thank you. Impressive. Yeah, I have this one here, like this. Yeah. Right. And how cool is that? And so, you know, I never knew how to paint. It was really funny because I would call up my friends. I'm like, oh, I learned how to paint a sky. Yeah. You know, and they'd be like, oh, awesome. And then I'd call them up the next day. I learned how to paint a hill. And they'd be like, okay. And then, you know, I'm like, oh, I made a tree. They're like, oh, stop. You know, because I call them all the time. Oh, and so, but these here are just cotton balls out of a vitamin jar. Oh, wow. What? Because I'm like, and this is a stick from my yard. Oh, but it's all dipped in glitter. Yeah. You know, and so I just, and these are butterflies, and I just stuck some, and then the plaques I'm really, you know, this one says, live the life you've imagined. I love that. So now I can't find them anymore. So they're all in my first book. Not so much in my second book, but I'll find them again. Oh yeah. Manifest it. Because you manifested a surfboard, you can manifest little plaques. Exactly. I've been looking everywhere for them. Like, what the heck? And or I'll take them off these. But that's totally, you know, I never painted before, but it had to be like 3 minutes or less, because I was like, oh, and you just paint, it just flows. That's like, I just love that message. Like, I hope everybody listening is inspired by this to know, like, you can do anything. Like, if you want to paint, you can. If you want to pick up the guitar, you can learn these things. You can do these. Yeah. If you have the desire and the passion, do it. You can do anything. Because why deny yourself that? Why deny yourself that happiness? Because I'll tell you, I am most happy when I paint or write.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy when I get people's sides of ranch too. But you know, it's like I'm so glad I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Like, want another side of ranch, really? So so now I'm just like anti-ranch. I don't even like ranch anymore. I used to love it. And I'm like, but yeah, you can do anything that you have inside that you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't want to be laying there going, God, I really wish I would have.
Yeah.
You know, just like your book, just like if you wouldn't have got it done, think of like you would have said, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
You know, now it's done.
It's done. Yeah.
And
I've already got a sequel formulating in my head. I've written a nonfiction now that's in its editing phases. Oh my gosh, like that's exciting too. That was another thing where it's like, gosh, just do it. Because I actually got invited to do a workshop teaching aspiring authors to transform their personal trauma or a story of challenge and growth from their life and transform it into a fiction, which is basically what I did with the Transcendent. I took my birth trauma. The story has nothing to do with birth. I transformed just the emotional experience that I had and put it into a fictional portrayal that my characters, which are teenagers, are going through their own experiences and life lessons that are similar to the experiences and life lessons I learned from my trauma. So anyway, I was invited to teach a workshop and I'm like, oh, I've never taught a workshop before. I don't know how this works. So I'm like formulating ideas and all of a sudden connected with an author coach who was like, I can totally help you create your workshop by way of writing a nonfiction book that will teach it for you. Basically, it'll be like a guide, like a step-by-step process. So I worked alongside of him and I just cranked out 11 chapters of a nonfiction book that explains the process of growing and healing from your trauma or your challenge, finding the elements of it that could make a good story, and then finding the metaphors within that to create the story and then write it. And it's like it's in its editing phases now and it's coming out in September. So I was like, oh my gosh,
that's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Oh,
so our books will probably be out at the same time because mine's going to be like September 21st.
Okay, yeah. So I think mine's kind of due to be around like September 12th, I think is what we're looking at. But yeah, so yeah, the early to mid part of September.
That's fabulous.
So exciting.
Yeah, my books take longer because I'm like,
well, it's so different. Like I've never experienced nonfiction like this before, but it's like, man, I cranked that out. It was like this effortless experience for me to just throw it all out there. Whereas, fiction writing, especially in the young adult level, is like, oh my gosh, this takes so much thought. You run into plot holes and it's like, oh, I got to fill the plot hole. How do I do that? Let me backtrack. And I'm sure, with you, there's a whole extra set of processes that you have to keep in mind. And especially it's like, oh, now I got to illustrate this and put it all together. And
so mine are all written and it's just my publisher that takes a long time because I'm 4 weeks in this, 4 weeks in that, 4 weeks in this, 4 weeks in that.
Yeah.
You know? And so then, but I have a lot of my illustrations, a lot of them done. And you know what I noticed is that some of my illustrations totally match with the words.
Cool.
You know, but some of them just don't because it's all about the children imagining that they're there. And I think that with a bunch of, let's see if I could find a weird one. They're all weird, but but I think that it doesn't set the scene. Like, hold on, can I move this?
Yeah.
I can, huh? Ooh, I can. Can I go?
You can do whatever you want,
turn it around? Let's see. Can I turn it around? Well, let's see. Like,
I think you can turn it around, maybe.
Can I?
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't think so.
That's okay.
Ooh, I can. Ha!
Oh, look at that.
I know. So in here, like, where's the one? A sneak peek at my dragon.
Oh, I love that.
So that's Penelope.
I love it.
And
Hi,
she's
Penelope.
sad, you know. And so, but then I have like other things, like that's Dahlia, the dragonfly,
Yeah.
you know. And I didn't draw that dragon. I hired an illustrator to do that. And then I
Oh,
have
okay.
just ones that are just, you know, nothing. And
Yeah.
that's, I don't mind kids looking at that kind of stuff, you know. It's because
Yeah.
they can just like think whatever they want to think.
Yes. Oh, those colors
Yeah,
are
so it
beautiful.
puts them, they can imagine everything.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's the
thank you for
good.
the little tour. That was so cool.
Oh, you can see my mannequin now.
Oh, yeah. I've been following that on Instagram and Facebook. Like, I love your pictures. That's so cool.
Yeah, I was gonna use her legs and everything.
Yeah.
And so her legs are actually, she's dismantled, but she is in the garage.
I can't wait to see how that all turns out.
Yeah, I was gonna do the legs and everything, and I thought, do I really want someone stand? Because she freaked me out every time I would come out of my room.
I
You know,
bet.
it was just like naked. It wasn't painted or anything like that. Just
Yeah.
standing over the corner, and people used to come in my house. I'm like, oh, lonely, COVID, you know, and like literally would just freak me out every time. So I think I'm just gonna leave her torso on my table.
Why not?
Yeah, she's good right now.
I love it. So was there anything else you'd like to share or chat about before we wrap up?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I think
Good.
we had
You
a really
good?
great I'm good. I think we had a really
Okay.
great conversation. Lots of great nuggets of inspiration and wisdom was shared. So yeah,
And we can be anything we want to be.
absolutely. It's
Can
all about our
just
mindset. It's all about our belief.
right. If
Yeah.
you're gonna be anything, just be happy.
Yeah,
You know, go with the flow. Don't overthink.
absolutely.
It's like I
Ah,
like to joke around that I could think if I have to think longer than 10 seconds, done. But I just don't
yeah.
want to dwell on things. It's like
Yeah.
things happen for a reason. They happen, and just be happy with them and be happy with who you're with. If you're not happy with them, leave. You know,
Yeah,
I've
there's
had the best
so
3 years of being single, just like me,
yeah,
you know?
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not that hard. And if it is hard, there are a lot of people out there who can help you with the journey. And
right,
yeah, go find
right.
those
And when you
people.
find that person that you flow with, it's
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I got into life coaching. I want to be that helping hand, that guide to help people navigate their lives to find that happy.
yeah, yeah, because we
Yeah.
all have it.
Oh yeah, it's in us. Sometimes it just, yeah, we need a little help to find it and to get there.
Right. Don't tuck it
So
too far down.
yeah. Life is meant to be enjoyed.
Yep. Yep. Can't be any other way.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jen. This was so much fun. It was great chatting with you.
Oh, thank you. You too.
I hope all of our listeners feel inspired and enlightened and pick up a copy of The Wish and The Gift coming up in September.
Awesome.
Oh,
Can't
that
wait.
would be yay. All right. Well, thank you so much and good luck on the rest of your journey.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.